lovers, welcome back to the Bibliovert channel. My name is Jacqueline, and for today's videos, we are going to talk about my 2025 most anticipated releases. It is middle of March when I'm filming this, so a few of them have already come out, and I've already read a few of them, but I figured we can still talk about it anyway, because thankfully all the ones I've read so far have been really good, and it's just going to be fun to talk about them, so let's go ahead and dive on in. The first one that I'm going to talk about, I'm actually so sad because I have been looking all over my shelves thinking that I already owned both of these books and I can't find them anywhere, so I'm immediately going to rectify this problem. But the first one that we're going to talk about is Flirting with Disaster by Nina Kumar. Last year I read Say You'll Be Mine and absolutely loved every single second of it. We did it as one of our Patreon book buddy reads, and all of us just absolutely fell in love with this book. So needless to say that this is very high on my TBR. I hope I can get to it in the next week or so. But she came out with Flirting with Disaster on January 14th. This is a second chance romance where they're already married, and it takes place in Houston, and it's inspired by the events of Hurricane Harvey, and it is a Sweet Home Alabama retelling. Say less. It sounds so good. Allie, my co-host, went to her book release in Houston and just said it was the most fun time ever. So needless to say, so excited to read this one. Highly recommend Say You'll Be Mine, and I cannot wait to read everything that this author releases in the future. The second one on my list was Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. This came out on January 21st. I had some trepidation about this book after the events of Iron Flame, and we are going to be releasing an episode on this. I don't think Allie has read the book yet, but we are planning on doing episodes. We have an episode on Fourth Wing and Iron Flame already, but without giving any spoilers at all, I loved it. I thought it was great. All of my fears and worries from Iron Flame were all for naught in this book. I thought it was wonderful. That ending, so good, and needless to say, I just thought it was phenomenal. Can't wait for the rest of the series. I know that people feel very strongly about this next author's books, whether you love her or don't like her writing style, but it is worth stating, I love everything she writes. Oh my gosh, feral, gnawing on the bars of my enclosure. She can do no wrong. I absolutely love everything that she does. And she's giving us 3 books this year. So she will be on this list 3 times. And I am so excited. But she released Deep End on February 4th. The author is Allie Hazelwood. This was her first college sports romance. And it also deals with some more spicy, serious topics. I thoroughly enjoyed this. We do have an episode on Deep End, and both Allie and I had a really great time reading it. I thought it was wonderful. I thought it was different from what Allie Hazelwood typically does, but still has her signature women in STEM premise and themes throughout it, and I just thought it was great. And I loved it, and I cannot wait for everything else that's coming out this year. Okay, this next one, I feel so fortunate because I received an ARC for this book and finished it over the weekend. And it was so good. We are also going to be getting 2 books from this author this year, so you will see this author later on in this video as well. But The Thrashers by Julie Soto is her very first YA and mystery, and oh my gosh, y'all, phenomenal. Julie has written 2 other books, Forget Me Not and Not Another Love Song. They are both phenomenal. This one is about a wedding planner and a florist, and it's a second chance romance. And it's so good. And then this one is about a violinist and a cellist who are in the same symphony. And the yearning, the like playing your instrument and looking across the symphony and making eye contact the entire time. Also, this scene that this artwork is based off of, read it. That's all I'm gonna say. But The Thrashers comes out on May 6th, and again, this is her debut into the YA realm as well as the mystery genre, and y'all, Julie absolutely knocked it out of the park. It was so good. Twists, turns, things you don't expect, absolutely phenomenal. I do want to give the heads up that over the next minute or so I will be discussing suicide, so if that is a trigger for you, I recommend 1, skipping forward a little bit in this video, but then also 2, maybe skipping this book because it is a fairly consistent theme throughout the story. The book starts off and there is a fellow classmate named Emily who does commit suicide, and everyone blames this friend group, the Thrashers, on being the reason that she dies. So they're under investigation. Bullying is talked a lot about in this book. Again, navigating friendships and relationships and all that kind of stuff. There are mystery elements to it. I felt like it was really, really, really well done. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time while reading this book. I read it in one sitting. I literally, the last chapter, I'm still thinking about it. It's been days since I finished it, and I cannot stop thinking about this book. Phenomenal. Highly, highly recommend. Okay, so this next one, I've actually not read anything by this author. I have seen her works around. I've actually downloaded her works because of this book, and I think I'm going to try and read her backlog before this one comes out. The author is Nisa J. Tooley, which you may know her for her works of like the Trial of the Sun Queen series, so I'm really excited to check that one out. But this one is a rom-com, and it's called Not Safe for Work. It comes out on May 20th, and this one sounds like the most delicious comedy of errors. Our main character, Triss, is an engineer and she has a rival at the company, and she gets invited to go on a corporate retreat to Hawaii for 3 weeks. Sounds delightful. But there happens to be a little mix-up, and she has to share the honeymoon suite with her engineering rival. Who's of course hot. Anyway, needless to say, sounds delicious. Cannot wait for May. And in the meantime, I plan on reading everything that this author has written and cannot wait to get started. I mentioned this earlier. I am an Ali Hazelwood fan. I love her. I love her so much. There is only one of her works that I have not read, and it is Not in Love. The reason why this one is less of like the calm in the rom-com and more of like an angsty, character-driven book, which I hear is wonderful and is so good and so well written. And I'm gonna say I am about to devour this book because we just received news like within the last week that Ali is releasing her second book of the year, and it is based off characters that are in this book. Problematic Summer Romance comes out on May 27th. It doesn't even have a cover yet, and again, it is March 11th as I'm filming this, and I am so excited. I have loved that Ali has not confined herself to just a specific genre, but has really explored a bunch of different subgenres or different interests that she has, like paranormal romance and Bride, or even YA chess, or doing collegiate sports in Deep End. I am really excited about Problematic Summer Romance because she did kind of start to explore, I don't want to use the word taboo interests, but not your typical like rom-com discussions. This one definitely has more exploration, if you will. And in Problematic Summer Romance, we get an age gap. And I think that this is going to be so interesting, but I know that she's going to do it so incredibly well. I believe the main character, Maya, is 23, 24, and it's her older brother's best friend, which that alone is one of my favorite tropes of all time. And I believe he's like 38, maybe? So I'm so excited. I can't wait to read Not in Love. I can't wait to read this one in May. And again, I'm just so grateful that we're getting 3 books from her this year. So I've dabbled in dark romance, and I'm gonna be honest, more times than not, it has been a miss rather than a hit for me with one exception. And last year I listened to the audiobook of Lights Out by Navisa Allen and had so much fun. It was phenomenal. The audiobook is incredible, so I highly, highly recommend. It's duet style narration, which is my personal favorite. And she is coming out with the sequel to Lights Out, and it's Caught Up. While reading Lights Out, I wasn't as interested in these side characters. However, I have no doubt that Navisa Allen is going to make me fall in love with them and become obsessed. So I fully believe that. July 8th is about to be my favorite day of the entire year, and personally, I think we should make it a public holiday from now on because we are getting 2 absolutely incredible books from fanfic authors, and I personally cannot wait. The first one is The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy by Bridget Knightley. She wrote Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal of Falling in Love. It is not that work being traditionally published. This is a completely new original work. So Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal of Being in Love is still on AO3 and other fanfiction sites. But it's going to be so good, and I am so excited. It is about a healer and an assassin who's on the other side of the war, and I can't wait. The cover, stunning, gorgeous. It's going to be a work of art. And again, July 8th, might take off work. You will not hear from me because I will be busy salivating over these works. The next one is a fan fiction that is getting reworked and traditionally published, and that is The Auction by Loves Bitka 8, and it is going to be titled Rose in Chains by Julie Soto, who we have already talked about. She wrote Forget Me Not and Not Another Love Song and The Thrashers. That is coming out in May, and y'all, The Auction is incredible. I'm planning on rereading it hopefully fairly soon, before Rose in Chains comes out. And I am so excited. This one's incredible. It's heartbreaking. It's filled with hope. It's emotional. And I think that it is going to be done and traditionally published so well. And I truly can't wait. It has been taken off of AO3, so if you search for The Auction, you won't be able to find it. But it is so incredibly good. And I cannot wait to see how she's reworked Rose in Chains. One of my favorite reads of 2023 was The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana. And on July 15th, she is coming out with The Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping. And I am so excited. This book is cozy, it's sweet, it's whimsical, it's fun. It's like low stakes, hilarious. We did this as a book buddy read in our Patreon, and truly all of us just had the absolute best time reading it. It just felt like a hug in a book, and I just know that her next book is also going to be the exact same way, and I truly cannot wait to read it. So speaking of books that are just cozy and fun, and you kick your feet while reading it, and they're hilarious and adorable, and just such a good time, the third book in the Assistant to the Villain series, Accomplice to the Villain, comes out on August 15th, and I am so excited to read it. These books, they're just hilarious, and you have such a good time while reading it. Again, you kind of have low stakes, but you just fall in love with all of the characters. It's just tender, and to see the way that the villain is just absolutely gone for Evie, but still trying to be, villainous and evil, but in reality he's just a big softie. It's just truly the cutest series. I just looked it up. I think there are going to be 4 books in the series, and the third one comes out this year. But they're cute and they're fun, and I just have the absolute best time while reading it. I am going to warn you now. Prepare to be sick of me. Sick of me, because Talia Hibbert, who wrote the Brown Sister trilogy, which is seriously some of my favorite rom-coms of all time, is writing a new series of Austen-inspired rom-coms. Like Jane Austen inspired rom-coms, and it comes out in August. That is literally all we know about it. We don't have a cover, we don't have a description, but y'all, I am unwell. I am so unwell. The release date for Skybriar is August 15th, and you better believe that I am waiting for any little nibble of information we can get on it. But in the meantime, if you have not read these, please do yourself a favor, because they are phenomenal. Get a Life Chloe Brown, our main character Chloe, has chronic illness and knows that it severely impacts her life. So she's decided to come up with a list of 7 things to help her get a life and live a little. And oh my gosh, it is just cute and fun. The way that the sisters love and support each other is just incredible and so impactful. Red, who lives in her building, helps her with some of the items on her list, and it's so good. In the second one, Take a Hint, Danny Brown, there's a moment where they're together and it goes viral, and then they have a fake relationship, and it's wonderful. She works at a university and he's a security guard, and delish. And in Act Your Age, Eve Brown, she works at an inn as the chef. He owns the inn. And they're just so good and fun. There's some spice. So needless to say, Jane Austen inspired rom-com. I'm sat and I'm ready, and I need it now, and I cannot wait for August. Y'all, this just like, even talking about, like, I cannot tell you how happy I am making this video, because I feel like, especially last year, there just weren't very many releases I was excited about, but making this video, I'm salivating, because there are so many books that I'm so excited about. And needless to say, this next one is my most anticipated release of my life. Ever. Like, I don't think anything else is ever going to top this. This is another fanfic that is getting traditionally published. Manacled by Sinlin Yu is being trad published on September 30th, and it is called Alchemized, also by Sinlin Yu. I love that she's keeping her, like, fanfiction author name. It just makes me so happy to see that. Manacled is my favorite thing that has ever been written. It is so good, so heartbreaking, so, like, it's been years since I've read it, and I think I still think about it at least on a weekly basis, if not on a daily basis. There are aspects of it that still make me emotional, that can make me cry, specifically the last line of the entire book. The heartbreak, the hope, the disappointment, the pain, the journey that they went on in this is so powerful and poignant and good. And I just love it. And I've told several people this, because, like, I know a lot of people have said, like, oh, I'm really nervous about Manacled, or, like, about Alchemized. Is it going to live up to Manacled? And this is, like, my perspective of it. If I go into Alchemized, and obviously things are going to have to change about it, it's being traditionally published, and I think that is good and wonderful. If it is not as good as Manacled, that's okay, because we still have Manacled. Like, this is still out in the world. It's been taken off of AO3, but there are definitely still ways to get it. And so I'm just so excited, and I'm so proud of Sinlin Yu, and I can't wait to see what it becomes. And I love that there are more people out there who are finding fanfiction and finding Hermione specifically, and I'm just so excited. And again, I just don't think there's any way that I can be disappointed, because we already have Manacled. Like, we already have one of the greatest things ever written, in my opinion, and, like, it's just going to be, like, a little gift, and I just can't wait. So yes, I'm so excited for Alchemized. I think it's going to be phenomenal, and I truly cannot imagine ever being this excited for another book ever. Because, again, favorite favorite thing I think I've ever read in my entire life. And nothing has ever come close to the feeling that I had while reading Manacled. So I do think I'm going to do a reread. It has been years. I've only read it once. Because again, if I have been that affected years later, like, can I do it to myself again? And the answer is yes, obviously. But I do think I'm going to try and read it again soon, probably within the next like 3 or 4 months. And, I'm just really, really, really excited and just really looking forward to Alchemized, and I just can't wait. And again, I'm really excited for Sin Lin Yu and what this means for her and her journey into traditional publishing. And she's still posting on AO3, like she's still giving us little tidbits, and I love that. Like, we're still getting fed. And so anyway, yeah, Alchemized, I can't wait. And the third Ali Hazelwood book that we are getting this year is the sequel to Bride, and it's called Mate, and comes out on October 7th. I'm not going to go into too much detail about the premise of the book because it does have some spoilers from Bride, so I definitely recommend reading this one first. I think you'll be fine if you haven't read it and you just jump in, but Bride is phenomenal, so I highly, highly recommend reading it. But we're going to be following Serena and Cohen. Y'all, like, I cannot wait. Bride might be tied for my favorite Ali Hazelwood book. I love it so much. I love it so much. So I cannot wait to get back into this world, to get to know these characters even more, to see some characters that we know and love. And I know it's going to be so good. It's going to be so good. There are so many scenes that live rent-free in my brain from this book. I think about them often, and I can't wait. I truly, truly, truly can't wait. This is the year of Ali Hazelwood, and I am not mad about it at all. At all. Okay, and this last one, this was my favorite series read of last year, and the next book is coming out. There's not a release date yet. I know that the author has talked about it being sometime in like the late spring, early summer, but I just don't know what the date is yet. It is The Kingdom of the Forgotten. It is in the Witch Collector series, and y'all, this series is so good. It was hands down one of my favorite reads of last year. Book 2, this one. The ending? Oh my gosh. Edge of my seat. So we have The Witch Collector, book 1, then we have City of Ruin, then we have like a companion novella called The Wolf and the Witch, which yeah, and then we have a collection of short stories, kind of spicy short story, not kind of, just spicy short stories, called Tales from Teresia. So this series, y'all, also we need to talk about this Lit Haven Boutique special edition. Stunning. But the premise of The Witch Collector, our main character, Raina, is a witch, and she is deaf, so she signs, and so she signs all of her spells and weaves them together, and it's just really, really cool the way that her magic works. But her older sister was taken by the Witch Collector, who comes around every single year, and so she decides she's gonna kill him. And he's like, I like you. And it is so good. So basically, they end up being attacked, so they have to work together. And oh my gosh, it is wonderful. Alexis, oh, a fantastic book boyfriend. I love this series with my whole heart. I think Teresa Weeks is a wonderful, wonderful human. I am so excited for Kingdom of the Forgotten, and I'm just really excited for all of the other books that she's going to be releasing in the future, and know that they are going to be incredible. So I truly, truly, truly cannot recommend this series enough. If you're looking for a wonderful fantasy series that has romance and a phenomenal plot, look no further. This one, it is incredible. But that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I am so excited about the books that are coming out this year. I would love to hear what books you are excited about coming out in 2025. I'm always looking to add more books to my list, so please let me know what your most anticipated releases are. But if you would like to learn a little bit more about us, you can check us out over on Instagram at the Bibliovertpodcast. We also have a podcast called the Bibliovertpodcast where we do book reviews. And we also have a Patreon that is so much fun, filled with the most incredible book-loving people of all time. We do behind-the-scenes content. We have episodes that come out twice a month. We also do a book buddy read and have a chat, and it is just so much fun. We would love for you to come join our family. But I hope you have a fantastic week. Happy reading, and I'll see you next time.